let's talk about all the books that I read for the month of December. Welcome to this House of Books. My name is Ashley, and yes, I had a really good reading month in December, so I can't wait to share all of those books. I'd like to start the month with some stats. Just last week, I filmed my yearly stats, and the numbers from December are included in that, but I didn't really totally break it all the way down, so I will do that here. For 2025, I am going to have more things that I am keeping track of, but we're just going to go off of what I was keeping track of last year. So I read 8 books, which is my average. So I will take it. The month was a little crazy and a little busy, and the fact that I managed to meet my average of books that I normally read is pretty awesome. Now, those book numbers are going to change a little bit in this coming year. I have not been sharing what read alouds I am doing with my kids, but they are included in my Goodreads total. So I am going to start including that number into my grand total. But for this month, it didn't. And so it was 8 books that I read on my own. Now for number of pages, I read 3,002 pages, which is pretty average. It's kind of varies from just under 2,000 to just over 3,000 pages, so I will take that. And then my average rating was 3.6. I did have 2 2-star books, so we'll get into that. I did have one DNF of the month, and that was Comfort and Joy by Kristen Hanna. I have said it before, I'll say it again, her backlisted books are not my favorites at all. And this was definitely one of them, where I got about 40 pages in, and right away you're following a woman who is just going through a lot. She caught her husband cheating with her sister. She finds out that the sister's pregnant, so she immediately buys an airplane ticket just to anywhere and goes. And then there's a plane crash. But then she's quickly recovered from that and is staying at a hotel and trying to take pictures of a lake. It just, it was not doing it for me, and it's a very short book. There's a lot to take in there, and we're just going to go take pictures of a lake. So, it was a DNF. But let's get to the other books that I did mostly enjoy. First book that I read in December was The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. If you like Legends and Lattes and Psalm for the Wild Built, you'll want to pick this one up. It is cozy fantasy, low stakes, found family. There's a cat. I mean, it just hit all of those check marks for me. I did give it 4.5. So this, you are following an immigrant fortune teller as she is very reserved and cut off from other people, but just stumbles across found family and a cat, and they have a little bit of a mission to go on. There's a little bit of political intrigue happening, but it just all worked great. And I really enjoyed this one. My next 2 books I did as a reading vlog, so I won't talk about them a bunch here. That reading vlog will be linked down below if you want to go and check it out. I was trying to finish out some series before the new year, or at least get caught up in series. So these 2 books, I did get caught up for what I have and what is released. So the first one is to be caught up in what is released, and that was Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I gave it 2 stars. The characters and the romance and the situations that they were in, I mean, Butcher and Blackbird, the first one, let's be serious. It's not a big, huge, in-depth book, but the characters at least need to be believable and draw you into all of their craziness. This couple did not. I will probably pick up the third one because I did give the first one 4 stars. I kind of want to see, was this just suffering from middle book syndrome, and will I like the third one more? We'll see. And then I picked up Twilight Falls by Juno Black. This is book 4 in the Shady Hollow Mystery series. I have since bought then the 5th one. I can't remember if there's a 6th one. There's a couple like little in-between books. I don't know if I'll read those or not. But this one, it was cute. I did give it 4 stars, which is what I have rated all of the books in this series so far. They're cute, they're cozy, you're following a bunch of little woodland animals, and specifically a fox who works at a newspaper and helps to solve different crimes that happen in this little town. This one definitely was not as great. Like, if I gave quarter stars, it would probably be like 3.75. But I don't, so I just kind of rounded it up to 4. I was able to guess the outcome of this, which in a mystery series, I don't want to do. Even if it's a cozy mystery series, I don't want to be halfway through the book and be like, I know how this is going to end, and that is how it ends. But I will continue on with the series. I have picked up the next one, and we'll get to it at some point. Now I got into a little bit of some Christmas style books. Some are more Christmassy than others. Like this first one, it starts just before Christmas, so I will count it. But it was In the Unlikely Event by Judy Blume. This was for one of my in-person book clubs, and you know what? It surprised me. I did give it 4 stars. So this, you are following a small town with a massive cast of characters. There are so many characters in this book. So if you are not a character-driven book reader, don't pick this one up. I found it really interesting to have all these characters like within this small town in New Jersey and surrounding areas in New York City, and see how they were all kind of interconnected. But this mostly takes place in the 1950s when there's, I guess it was a true thing, that there were 3 plane crashes within the matter of a few months in this one town. And so you are definitely dealing with the outcome of all of that, of your survivors. You do see some of the people that end up on planes, so trigger warning for that. And just, I think it was really interesting to see how little was put into like the impact of the community. You know, like kids are just meant to go back to school and not really talk about it and kind of move on with their lives. Meanwhile, this huge tragic event happened right outside their front door. But I enjoyed it, and I am really glad that I picked it up. And now for my other 2-star book. That was Mr. Dickens and His Carol by Samantha Silva. I was so excited about reading this book. It has been on my shelf for a while, but I knew it needed to be read during Christmas time. So this one, you are following Charles Dickens, fictionally, as he is kind of floundering, and he is told, hey, your last book did not do well. You need to write another one, and it needs to be Christmas themed, and it needs to be out by a certain date right before Christmas. And then, of course, he writes The Christmas Carol. All of that premise sounds really good. I did not like Charles Dickens in this book. Now, I have since heard, you know, some slightly problematic things about him, but he just came off as super whiny. Poor me, having to write this book that I don't want to write. He, you know, in the very beginning of the book, his wife is having their 6th baby, and then he immediately is off chasing after an old girlfriend, and then has this other woman that he's going after. It just, I didn't like his portrayal at all. I do want to do my own kind of research to see, like, what kind of person was he? Was he really like this? But it did not paint him in a good light at all. And it was really surprising because the reviews on this are really good for the most part. Like, I had to go through Goodreads and like really scour for other reviews that were similar to mine. I'm really sad that it was such a dud. And then Christmas books just kept going. So then we had The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ally Carter. Oh my gosh. Okay, if you like Agatha Christie and romance, this is the book for you. So here you are following 2 rival authors, as they are invited to essentially what would be like Agatha Christie. That's what this character is based off of. So they're invited to her house in England for Christmas. And of course, there's a mystery that happens. And because these two authors write mystery books, they take it upon themselves to start solving that mystery. I thought it was cute. It was fun. It definitely served its purpose. It is not like a super jolly Christmas book, but that's fine. You know, I really enjoyed this book. It was a 4-star book. And then my last Christmas book of the year was How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. All right, so I did give this one 4 stars. I will say it is a chunky rom-com Christmas book. I think it was probably 50 to 100 pages too long. But I did really enjoy it. It made me laugh and giggle, and I wanted to see like kind of what happens. But this, you are following our 2 main characters. They knew each other as teenagers, and our main female character comes back. She hasn't been there in 10 years. She definitely got burned by the town before, which of course is called Kringle, and they celebrate Christmas year-round. And then you are also following our main male character, who is definitely grumpy, but rightfully so. He does not get into the Christmas spirit. He's a little grinchy about it. And of course, there's some like enemies to lovers kind of things. They do talk it out. I mean, it's kind of miscommunication, but also just that they were kids and didn't talk things over. They are both taking part in a huge town competition for Christmas, and that is where it just got really drawn out. Like, I lost count of how many competitions that they have to do, and it was probably like 2 or 3 competitions too many. But it was really funny. Their banter back and forth was great. Oh yeah, there's pictures throughout, which is fantastic. I mean, I love a book with pictures. There is a running poem all throughout the book, and at the beginning of every chapter, that poem continues. So like there, and then it goes into like the rest of the chapter. It was just funny and cute and entertaining, served its purpose for what I needed. And then after Christmas, I needed something else, and so I finished off a trilogy. So I read The Bone-Shard War by Andrea Stewart. This is book 3 in the Drowning Empire series. I have to say, I really enjoyed this series. I have heard some people that they loved the first one and then just hated the rest of the series. And I was not that way at all. The first book, I believe I gave 4.5 or 5 stars. The second book I gave 4 stars. This one, so far, I have rated it 4.5. It might go up to a 5. I don't know. I'm going to sit with it for a little bit. But for right now, it is a 4.5. There's not a whole lot that I can say about this book because it is the third in a series. But the world, the characters, and the magic, everything like that, I really enjoyed it. I think if you're looking for like a fast-paced, huge, epic battles throughout this whole book, then you're probably not going to like it. There's a lot of like leading up to the ending of the battle, but I didn't mind it because it was tying up a lot of the like loose ends that happened in the first 2 books, and so I really enjoyed it. I squeezed in the very ending at the end of the month, but yay. All right, as always, I like to hold up the books, so there's all the books. Yeah, I am thrilled with the books that I read for this month. Even though there were a couple of duds and a DNF, the other books made up for it. I will be back at the beginning of February with January's books, with just a little bit of change to how I am kind of talking about my books, but it should be good. As always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.